Alright guys, so we are continuing our unit on traits and reproduction. And so we are going to continue on being scientists and working with spiders. So I hope none of you have arachnophobia, or I think it's how you say it, because then this lesson is really hard for you guys. But spiders can be super cute and friendly. Maybe I'll post a cute picture of a spider, so maybe it won't be so scary if you do have that. Anyways, let's get going. Today, what I want you to make sure that you do, I'm going to be walking through Amplify with you. So if you need to, you can, I want you to go onto your Google Classroom assignment, and I want you to open up everything that's on there. So there should be this video, there should be a link to your Amplified, and then there should be a Google Slides. And so I need you to have all three open. So you have the video open, you're going to have the Amplified open, and the Google Slides. So go ahead, pause the video right now, and then open up everything in different tabs so that you can be clicking through everything with me. So now that you're back, we are going to go straight into Amplify, and what I'm going to do is I want you to watch my screen, so watch the video, and then I will tell you when to pause it and then to do it yourself. And so again, we're starting with Amplified, so don't worry about the Google Slides right now, that'll come later. Right now we are just working in Amplified. So let's go to my screen. And so it should take you to this. And this is the lesson brief, okay? So this is where you have access to all 4 of the activities that we are going to be working on. We are in lesson 1.4 here. And so you're going to scroll down. This is just your overview and your materials, and then also we'll have your digital resources. Don't worry about any of that. Just go ahead and go straight to warm up, okay? So this is your warm up. It says students review that they have learned about how protein structure determines its function. So this is just your review. This is you telling me I'm on board, I kind of know what we've been learning about. So this should look very familiar to you guys. Darwin's bark spider family tree. We talked about this, we've worked with it, and then you have your word bank. So molecule, structure, protein, and trait. These are all vocab words. And we are going to be doing a vocab square like we did for the, I don't know, it was back in April, I think, when we came back from spring break. So be on the lookout for some squares. And then you're going to come right down here, and you are going to answer the question, what have you learned so far about why some of Darwin's bark spiders have different traits for silk flexibility? Use the above words in your response. So I want you to tell me, using this diagram tree and these words, and I expect full complete sentences to answer this question. So go ahead and pause the video and do your warm-up. So now that you've hit played, you should have paused and done your warm-up. I hope you did. And then you are going to click, it should say hand in, and then hit next activity. Now, as you see, we are now on the sim, so number 2 activity. So observing the sim, it says launch the traits and reproduction sim, and compare spiders with high, medium, and low silk flexibility. So this is what we are looking for in our simulation: high, medium, and low silk flexibility. It says, so I know it says with a partner. Sorry guys, we are in distance learning, so you have to do all the work yourself. So find 3 spiders, each with different trait for silk flexibility, high, medium, or low, and ignore the note. So I know it says a note to do with your partner. Ignore that. You are doing all 3 spiders on your own. Compare the protein molecules in each of your spider cells. Record your observations in the data table below, right here. And discuss the question below in the data table and record your thinking. So this is our data table. So we are going to put a spider, we're going to have 3 different spiders' names. We are going to put if their silk flexibility was low, medium, or high, and then we are going to describe what the protein looked like. And then down here, we have a question, and it says, look at the protein to trait example for silk flexibility. How do the differences in proteins lead to different traits for silk flexibility? Okay, so now that we've kind of read everything, we know what we're looking for, now we are going to launch the traits and reproduction. It should open a new tab. And now we have all these spiders. And so up here you can say feature, okay, that is one of your vocab words. Remember a feature, we all have features. And with the feature, we know that we are looking for silk flexibility. And so with the silk flexibility, it tells you right here, trait low, trait high. So remember the feature is something that we all have, but the trait is for the individual, okay? So underneath the name, you can see if her silk flexibility is low, high, or medium. And so I want to go over how to actually use this with you guys. So instead of giving you all the answers, I'm going to use the feature bristle. And I'm going to use the spider Zora. So here's my spider, and this is her cell. So we are looking at this in a molecular scale, okay? Remember, cells are too tiny for us to see. So this is a molecular scale. A macro scale is something that we can look at without any kind of science utensil or equipment, you know? So you can look at your computer that you're watching right now, and you can say, okay, if it's a Chromebook, you can say, okay, it's black, here's a keyboard, I can touch it. But on a molecular, on a molecular scale, there's a bunch of molecules that create that computer. So right now, this is a cell, and we are looking at it at a molecular scale. So you can see there are two types of proteins going on in her cell. You have these dark purple ones, and then we have these pink ones. And as you can see, the pink ones attach to the purple ones, and then they go into the nucleus. So that's pretty cool. You know, we can kind of see that. And then down here, you could see that there are two types of proteins that Zora could have. But right now, Zora only has protein 1. Okay, so then over here, you see right here, it says protein to trait example. Remember the question at the bottom after your diagram that you're going to fill out? It asks about your protein to trait diagram. This is really important, guys. I would recommend starting here with a protein to trait example because this tells you what is going on in that cell. So instead of looking at it and saying, oh, I have no idea what this is, it just looks like a bunch of floating things with a bunch of different colors connecting. So this tells you what it is. So it says, the spider's bristle producing cells makes one kind of protein that helps determine the number of bristles on the spider. This protein connects to another type of protein that is already in the cell. So you can see the purple ones are the proteins that are already existing in the cell. And then you have the protein molecules connecting. And so you can see in this one, they only have protein 1. We saw down here at the bottom that there was 2. And then they go into the nucleus, and it tells this bristle if it should grow or if it should stay a nub. And then we'll move on to the next page. Once the protein connect, they enter the nucleus. Inside the nucleus, the connected proteins signal the cells to produce a bristle. So all of these got connected, so they are now going into the nucleus, and the bristle is beginning to grow. Go on to the next one. Zooming out even further, you can see many bristles being produced by different groups of cells. So you can see all the different sizes, okay? So this is explaining what is going on in Zora's cell. So now that we understand that if the pink protein and the purple protein connect, they can go into the nucleus and they can grow a bristle. So looking at Zora's, we see that she has a bunch of proteins 1, and so all of them can connect to the purple ones. And because of that, Zora has a dense trait of bristles. You can look at her legs right here, and you can see she has a ton of bristles. So now I'm going to hit the X, and just so you guys know, there is the Spanish language button. So you can use that. Let's look at another one. Let's check out Greg over here, this yellow fella. And let's see. We look at him and he has none. He has absolutely no bristles. So looking at the trait, at his cell, okay, we've already looked at the protein to trait example. This is, we're still on bristles, so this says the exact same thing, tells you what's going on. And so now we're looking, does Greg have protein 1? Or does he have protein 2? Think back, Zora had protein 1 and there was a bunch of connections going on. Greg has a bunch of protein 2. Actually, he only has protein 2. And as you can see, none of them are connecting to the purple already existing proteins. Okay? None of them are fitting into them. So because of this, you can see that the proteins, none of them are going into the nucleus. And because none of them are able to connect because they're different sizes, it's just like a puzzle piece. If it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. And it can't go into the nucleus, so nothing is going into the nucleus and saying, hey bud, let's grow some bristles. Instead, they're just kind of floating around saying, I have no partner, I can't connect to anything. So that is why he has no bristles. So now we can go back to our spiders, and then so you guys are going to be working on silk flexibility, okay? And you guys will pick any spider that you want. You'll click on it, and then you will be looking at the proteins. Remember, start with the protein to trait example and read it. Once you read it, you'll be able to understand what's going on. Notice that there are different shapes here, right? These proteins, see this one's different than this one. And that's what you need to explain in your amplified answers. So going back to the amplified answers, you're going to tell me what spiders you chose. You're going to tell me were their flexibility low, high, or medium. Remember that is underneath their name right here. Their trait, is it low, high, or medium? And then I want you to describe what the protein looks like, okay? As you can see, there are different proteins in Zora. So depending on what spider you pick, their proteins will look different. So I want you to describe that. Once you fill out your diagram, you come down and then you answer, look at the protein to trait example and the silk flexibility. How do the differences in proteins lead to different traits for silk flexibility? Remember, we read it, it explained what was going on. That is what this is asking. This is asking, what does the protein to trait example explain? Tell me what it tells you. So now I want you to pause the video and I want you to complete this section. So part 1 of activity 2. Go ahead and pause it. All right, now that you're back, make sure that you click save and continue. And then it's going to bring you to part 2 of the activity. You are going to be doing the same thing, except, as you can see right here, it says select the feature you choose. So you already did silk flexibility. We already went over the bristles. So now I want you to look at this and tell me, okay, is this silk? You want to look at the silk stickiness, their venom, their size, their body color, their stripe, whichever one you pick, right? And then once you pick, you can pick the same spiders or you can pick different spiders. Remember, you pick the spider's name, you go to feature, say you decide you want to look at the venom, and then you remember their trait is underneath their name, okay? So Zora, our girl Zora here, she's got no venom. So when you come to here, right, so I clicked venom, I'm going to pick my spider's name, I'm going to pick the trait, I'm going to put what it was, and then you have to click on it to see the cell, remember? You see the cell, and you tell me what the proteins look like. And then after this, same thing, you were supposed to read the protein to trait example. Tell me what the protein to trait example is explaining. What does it tell you? All right, so go ahead, pause the video, and finish activity 2. So you should be back now. It should say turn in at the bottom. Mine says update because I've worked on this a little, so I just click update, and then I'm going to click next activity. Now we are on activity 3, modeling silk flexibility. So this is when the Google Slides is going to come in. Okay, so what you're going to do, we're going to read this really fast, and it says modeling proteins and traits for silk flexibility. You have been investigating the question, what determines an organism's traits at the molecular scale? Use the modeling tool. Your modeling tool, guys, is your silk flexibility Google slide. Okay, so that's why I asked you to make sure you had it open. Okay, so silk flexibility model to show your thinking about this question. Follow the instructions below. So our goal is to show the different protein molecules determine each spider's traits for the silk flexibility. Draw the protein molecules each spider would have for silk flexibility inside their cells. Annotate the diagram to explain why the proteins lead to these traits. So, because I understand that some of us don't have printers, I don't have a printer, so I just kind of assume that not all of us have printers. If you do have a printer and you would like to draw, that is totally fine. Go ahead and print out this slide. But I have made it possible for you to just do it yourself, okay, on the computer. So you should be able to open up your slide. And what you're going to tell me is you're going to show me what proteins should be inside this spider cell. So if it's small like this and you don't think it's, you want it to be bigger, you just come right over here. It's right over here next to the printer and the paintbrush, and you click zoom. And you can click the area that you want to zoom in on, okay? So as you can see, we have spider A. Let me turn off the zoom so I can click some stuff. You have spider A, high silk flexibility, and then you have spider B, low silk flexibility. If I scroll down, here are my protein molecule options. Guys, this should look super familiar. So remember, we did the video experiment where we had the connects, and I showed you the 3 different connects, right? One was just the sticks, the other one had 2 things for it to connect, and the third one had 3 things to connect. This is those connects just drawn out in a different way, okay? So what you want to tell me is I want you to show me that you understand what the proteins can cause to happen. So if I have a bunch of 3s in the cell, is it going to be high flexibility or low flexibility or no flexibility? Is 2 going to be low, high, or none? Is 1 going to be low, high, or none? So this is what you are going to do. My spider A says it has high silk flexibility, meaning it can flex very well. So you have to determine, does it have protein 1, 2, or 3? And I've made it so that you guys, because we can't draw on the computer, I mean, some of you might be able to, but I've made it so that you can just drag them. So you just click on it, click the one you want, and drag it up there, okay? Each one you can drag and put 2 in there, or you can drag 1 in there, okay? So whichever protein you think fits it best, that's what I want you to go ahead and put in there. If it has low silk flexibility, so meaning it's kind of stiff, am I going to use 1, 2, or 3? Again, you're just going to pick which ones you think should be in there, and you are going to drag it in there. Once you have decided which proteins should be in there, I want you to then come up here, and I want you to tell me, this is a text box, so you can write in here, okay? So when you're not on it, you just double click it, 1, 2, and then you can start to type. I want you to tell me why you picked what you picked, okay? So looking at this, I want you to tell me you picked number 1 or number 3 because they connect or they don't connect. I want you to try to use words that have been in the vocab, just like if you need to go back to your Amplify curriculum and click on warm up, and then you'll see your word box again, okay? Try to use those words so that you can get used to them, and then when you see them on tests and stuff, they're familiar. So in your word box, remember, you just double click and you are going to tell me, you're going to annotate and explain your reasoning, saying, I use these proteins because, and then fill it in. So this is your model, okay? So this is where you're going to do it. So after you finish, you know what? Let's just go ahead and pause right here, and I want you guys to go ahead and fill this in. Okay, now that you're done, obviously you're done, so you hit play. I'm going to go back to the Amplify curriculum, and you should be on activity 3, correct? And you already did on Google Classroom, so now you're going to hit next activity. This is your homework. This is just, again, you explaining that you understand what's going on, okay? So you're going to have your word bank. It says, the sisters in the picture below do not look very similar. They have different traits for various features. Use what you have learned about traits to answer the questions. Okay, so remember, traits. We all have features, right? They both have hair, they both have eyes, they both have noses and mouths, but their traits are different, right? They look different. So now I want you to answer these questions and tell me, identify a feature of which each sister has a different trait. So remember the feature, right? Feature is what we all have, and trait is what it looks like on the individual. Indicate the feature you selected and corresponding traits below. So fill these in, then go over here and answer these questions. Why do these sisters have different traits? Use the above words in your response. Describe what would determine these traits for the molecular scale. Again, we're using the word box, okay? Once you have finished that, you just click Hand In, and then on Amplify, you have finished. For the Google Classroom, once you have finished this, once you have finished your Silk's flexibility model, I want you to go back to your Google Classroom. I don't have Google Classroom open right now, so I can't exactly show you. But you're going to go back to Google Classroom. You are going to click Attach. So you attach your Silk flexibility model, and then you click Mark as Done or Hand In. I can't remember which button it is. I always forget. So make sure that you attach your model, and then make sure that you complete all of Amplify, and then click Turn In, Hand In, or Mark as Done. Again, I really need to memorize what Google says. But once you have finished all that, you're done for the day. You should have done it with this video, so we're at the end of the video, so you should be able to mark Done and move on to your next class. And I will be able to go through it. If you have any questions, again, message me as you're walking through this. Leave comments. If you need extra help, we have our Zoom meetings at 2:30 every day. So just let me know. And I hope this is able to go smooth for you guys. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.